Hey, Chris. I guess first off, what'd you see on the RBI single? I mean, are you playing that situation knowing it's a 1-0 game right there?
Oh, yes, sir. So we was pitching good. I knew if we got another run in, Hammer was throwing really good, man. And I was just thinking, sit in the middle of the field, hit something up the middle, so I can just sack fly would have done it, but just thinking up the middle, just give me a pitch down the middle, hit it up the middle.
It looked like all three of their guys were just throwing a lot of off speeds at you guys tonight. Is that what were you seeing for most of the night?
Yeah, well, I see a lot of off speed all the time, but they just Coach Barry just says see the ball up, man. I try to see the ball up. When I see it up, I hit it. And he started me down. I took one, and then I knew he'd come back with a fastball because he's been giving me a lot of sliders. So I just seen it up in the middle and put it in the middle of the field.
Hey, Chris, can you talk about that play? And I guess it was the eighth there. They were making a little charge, and Lynch kind of short hopped it to you. Can you talk a little bit about that? I thought that was a pretty
Yes,
awesome
sir.
play.
So yeah, it was. It was just my instincts, man. I knew I had to make the play. If I'd missed it, they'd have got the run. They'd have scored. Probably still be playing right now. Dickerson threw me one pretty much the same exact ball earlier in the game, and I made it. And I was like, all right, so just do the same thing. I seen it early, and I was like, I gotta stay down. It's instincts, man. Just playing the game.
Hey Chris, it got pretty close towards the end of the game. Just what is the team message after this win? Is there anything, that is coach talks about working on, or just players are talking about improving from this game?
Oh yes, sir. So like coach he just wants us to compete, man. Just go out there every day and give everything we got. Don't leave nothing on the field. And when we getting this win after the coach was just like, hey, I'm proud of you guys competing. We're not done yet. We got to keep going, keep competing every day, and don't leave anything on the field every time we go out there.
Coach, just what was your take on that game?
Well, I thought it was two good clubs going after one another. Obviously, pitching and defense played into it more than the offense, but what offense that did show up, it was crucial and important, and was a deciding factor. So.
Coach, just what can you say about how Hunter Stanley played tonight, and just maybe how Garrett Ramsey, just the pitching staff, what they expect?
Well, our pitching has been really good and consistent the whole year. And, Hunter, every time he takes the mound, you have a chance to win. He doesn't walk people, although he had 2 walks tonight and a hit batter. But, he really continued to pour the strike zone, pound the strike zone. His velo continued to stay hot. He never dropped off from it. So, I think he had to pitch out at the first inning. He had first and third, 2 outs. He was able to get out of it. 7th inning, he had first and third, 2 outs. He was able to get out of it. So, once again, I felt like a very, very great pitching performance on his part. Missouri State did an outstanding job. His strikeout numbers were down tonight compared to what it normally is. Usually he's 10, 11 strikeouts, but tonight he only was able to punch him out 7 times. So you credit them and their hitters and their 2-strike approach. They spoiled a lot of good pitches against him. So, but our bullpen, came in, got in a little bit of trouble, but giving up the 1 run, but was able to get out of there in the 8th with 2nd and 3rd. Play the game with Sarge picking the ball that at first that Lynch on a slow roller short hopped him. So obviously, if he doesn't do that, then we're behind a run going into the bottom of the 8th. But what can you say about Garrett Ramsey? I mean, he's 5 for 5 coming out of the pen in big moments with the game on the line, and he showed again his worth as he came out there and completed the save.
Coach, I noticed something with Ramsey there. He started off the inning. Of course, it's hard to come in the bottom of the 9th, but he had the curveball, and it really got him going, or a slider, or however he throws it. It's a weird looking pitch. Can you talk a little bit about that and why that gets him going with that pitch?
Well, obviously that's his bread and butter. That's the one that he's going to go, and that's his strikeout pitch. But, I think his first couple of pitches were fastballs in the dirt, and he was 2-0, and so then he drops a slider in there. We had a young man back in 2007 that threw his breaking ball better than his fastball, and that was Ryan Balaje. When I used to call pitches, we'd call it on a 3-0 because I knew, and he knew that he could land a 3-0 breaking ball. So Garrett's kind of that way. And tonight, where one kid did get a good swing off on him, and the tying run got on base, he was able to go back to that slider and punch those guys out and get that 5th save.
Does he have that mentality that it seems like he does, where even that guy gets a hit off of him, as a closer, you just have to have that certain mentality to just shut it off and go back to that pitch?
Well, as a mentality,
is that something?
As a closer, the mentality is it's kind of a sprint. You're running a sprint. You're not running a marathon like that starter has to, like Stanley. So when you come in out of that pen, I mean, you've got to have your stuff and ready to go, because usually it's going to only take place for an out or 2 or 3, covering an inning. So you've got to have it. And his mentality and makeup is just that. He can come in and blow that thing. And, he's not a guy that can be a starter and run that marathon, but, on that short distance, he's pretty good.
Coach, you were talking about how Sargent was playing defensively. Could you just talk about what he brought hitting and batting today?
Well, I thought he had some really good at-bats, even though he had a couple of strikeouts. He had the big double down the left field line on a hanging breaking ball. And then later, what proved to be the game-winning RBI when he had the base hit up the middle to plate that second run. So, I think Sarge continues to hold that 4 spot for us very nicely. Charlie's done a good job of protecting him there as well. So, but defensively, that play there in the 8th inning, that was really crucial in the outcome of this game.
Hunter, what was working for you tonight?
I was really majority fastball changeup. Play changeup was keeping them off balance there in between. And then I was able to mix in the slider when I wanted to, but really just getting ahead in the count with the fastball. So.
Hey Hunter, I believe that was your highest pitch count of the year. Just how are you feeling after that game? And just could you say how that high of a pitch count maybe felt, especially towards the end of the game?
Yeah, it's not something you really think about when you're in the game. I didn't even know I was at that many pitches, but me and Coach Oz have talked about it. He's been wanting to extend me a little bit more, get to that 100 pitch count mark. And it just so happened, the situation was, we really wanted to get out of the inning, so we didn't want to have to bring anybody in that inning. But, I felt good. I've always been one that, kind of gets stronger as I go more in the game, especially tonight with, it being a little chilly. I did feel better there towards the later innings.
Hunter, what do you say about your bullpen? Ramsey and Ock just kind of coming in and doing what they do again and again.
Yeah, it's huge, when you got those guys in the back end that you can rely on, in the late innings, especially to keep it, keep them from scoring, keep them off base. Ryan and Garrett have done a tremendous job this year, and I think, they're only going to get better as we go on. But, they've just been lights out. I ran into a little trouble there really for the first time in the season. But, we talked after the game and, he agreed. It's not going to be easy, every time you go out there, you can give up hits sometimes. You're not going to feel as good sometimes. And, that's what we kind of talked about, but he was still able to get out of that. And then Garrett there at the end did a great job of finishing that thing out. So.
Hunter, when you go back and look at a game like this and you see that maybe, as you admit, you didn't have your best stuff, but you were able to go out there and compete, does a game like this, is it like a feather in your cap and saying that, hey, look, I can go out there and do this even if, I don't have the strikeout pitches or whatever?
Yeah, it's no doubt. Every outing is, information that you can use going forward. And that's what me and Coach Oz have really, talked about, especially with, starting now, each start is more information, more fuel to the fire for the next one, so I definitely was proud of myself for, still be able to compete, even though I didn't feel like I really had my best stuff. But, winning is winning, it doesn't matter what it looks like.
How much does your approach to the mound change when, like you said, not having the best stuff and, having to pitch in a close game like that? I mean, how are you approaching each at bat, just knowing that, one swing could be the difference?
Right. I mean, that's not really, you can't look at it like that, well, if I give up, if I make one mistake, the game's tied or whatever, you got to trust your stuff. And, that's a big thing Coach Oz preaches to us, and is having conviction in your pitches, and what you want to do. So it's really just taking it pitch by pitch. You never want to get too big and look at the big picture like, man, I got to keep it close here, because we're not really scoring or whatever. But, credit to our hitters for, finding a way to get scratch and runs there. I mean, like I said, it doesn't matter how it looks, win's a win. So.